Have you ever wondered if the people in your life are really on your side or just taking advantage of your kindness? It's like standing at a crossroads, not knowing which path leads to true connections. But you are not alone in this journey. Although it's unique to each of us, it's a shared experience, making our way through the maze of relationships and trying to distinguish the genuine from the pretend. As Marcus Aurelius once said, it's important to understand the nature of those we connect with. In this video, we'll look at 15 subtle but telling signs that someone may be using you. These aren't just random tips. These are carefully crafted views based on an understanding of human behavior and emotions. Let's get started. 1. Despicable comments. As we move through life, dismissive comments are like hidden rocks in a stream. Small things, but capable of causing you to stumble. Imagine sharing your personal accomplishment only to hear a sarcastic, "That's it," or confiding your dreams only to have them belittled. These comments of conceit, they are skillfully designed to make you feel less so they can feel more. From a Stoicism perspective, these comments provide a moment for reflection and resilience. Remember that the point of Stoicism is not to suppress emotions, but to understand and manage them. When you encounter these comments, reflect on your value. This is their way of saying, "I feel threatened by your success." You have a choice to give power to these words over you or see them for what they really are. Reflections of someone else's inner turmoil. Your response: meet these comments with poise and confidence. Stoic is involved in verbal battles. Surround yourself with positive people who genuinely support you and lift you up. Life viewed through the lens of Stoicism is too valuable to be obscured by the insecurities of others. Keep your inner peace and let your actions speak for themselves. After all, in Stoicism, it is not a tool for others to undermine. It is your shield, your strength, adamant against the whims of those who seek to take advantage of you. 2. Broken promises. Have you ever noticed how some people in your life seem to be all talk but no action? They are like wizards of words, weaving stories and promises with the ease of a skilled storyteller. However, when it comes time to act, they disappear, oblivious to the misunderstood promises, and their words hang like shiny jewelry, distracting you from the lack of real commitment or action. In these situations, it is crucial to observe not only what is said, but also what is done. Actions, unlike words, do not lie. They are the true measure of a person's intentions and commitment. When a promise becomes a currency that is given easily but rarely fulfilled, it is a sign. Notice the pattern. Is this person consistently failing to meet expectations when it really matters? If the answer is yes, it's time to question his sincerity. It's like building a house with someone who brings beautiful plans but never shows up on the building site. A foundation of trust can't be built on words alone. And remember, it's not about cynicism, it's about discernment. Trust and relationships are built on a balance of words and actions. When a person's actions consistently don't match their words, it's a troubling sign. It's a sign that perhaps they are more interested in the idea of being perceived as supportive rather than actually being so. By recognizing this, you empower yourself to make informed decisions about who you let in. At the end of the day, your time and emotional investment are precious. Save them for those who not only speak but also act with sincerity and integrity. Unilateral benefit. Navigating a relationship can often feel like walking a tightrope, especially when you find yourself in the middle of a one-sided benefit. A one-sided benefit is like rowing a boat alone while someone else enjoys the ride without offering anything in return. Becoming attentive, only to be confronted with the deafening sign that you are underestimated. Stoicism teaches the mutual respect and balance necessary for any healthy relationship. Your value is not measured by your generosity or availability. Recognize this one-sided dynamic and dare to set boundaries. It's not selfishness, it's self-respect. Engage in honest conversations and see who adjusts. Those who aren't willing to reciprocate are just making room for people who do appreciate you. Quality over quantity in relationships. You are not just a resource. You are a person worthy of a balanced and reciprocal connection. There is a subtle, but when someone systematically ignores your feelings and needs, it's like carrying a weight that only gets heavier. It's a subtle, often silent form of manipulation. Imagine that every time you speak, your words seem to evaporate before reaching their ears. Or when you feel bad, they walk right past you like you're just another piece of furniture. It's not about carelessness, it's a deliberate act to keep you in check. A clear departure from Stoic principles is a red flag developing on the winds of your relationship. To break those chains, start by listening to your inner voice, that quiet tone that says it's not true. Trust it. You are not a background character in someone else's story, you are the protagonist of your own story. When your emotions are ignored, speak up. It's not about starting a conflict, it's about honoring your feelings. If they continue to ignore your needs, it may be time to reevaluate this relationship. Live for yourself and see you. Relationships should be a two-way road, not a one-way alley that only leads to their happiness. Stoicism teaches us the value of self-respect and inner strength. Emotional manipulation. Consider the wise words of Marcus Aurelius, the beacon of Stoic philosophy. You have power over your mind, not over external events. Understand this, and you will find power. This deep understanding is your armor on the thin battlefield of emotional manipulation. Imagine floating through a relationship, friendship, or even a work environment where your trust begins to weaken because of someone's hidden agenda to manipulate your feelings. The manipulator, hiding under the mask of a friend or ally, skillfully undermines your self-esteem with a sly mix of praise and criticism, making you dependent on his or her approval. It's not just a betrayal of trust, it's a subtle attack on your autonomy. A fundamental principle of Stoic philosophy is the practice of self-awareness and personal sovereignty. Trust your instincts. If an interaction leaves you more weary than comforted, defend your values, question inconsistencies, and most importantly, interact with those who respect and foster your growth. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that our mental space belongs to us to manage. By protecting it, we not only honor ourselves but also maintain the integrity of a warrior, the lack of genuine support. Lack of sincere support. At the heart of every meaningful relationship is a strong foundation of genuine support. It's like having someone who cheers you up, who is with you through every ups and downs. But what happens when that support isn't there? It's like walking a tightrope without a safety net. You make a move expecting an encouraging word or a helping hand, but are met with emptiness. This absence is a clear red flag in any relationship, indicating that you may be in the company of someone who sees you simply as a rock in the path rather than a partner in growth. Sincere support is not about constant agreement or unwavering encouragement. It's about having someone who values your dreams as much as they value their own. When that's not there, your successes and challenges become background noise to them. They may nod at your stories, but their attention is somewhere else. They are like shadows that appear when the sun shines, but disappear at the first sign of a storm. These relationships are draining and make you feel alone in your efforts. It is important to recognize these patterns when your joys and sorrows are met with indifference or empty words. This is a signal to reevaluate their role in your life. Remember that quality over quantity in relationships. You are not just a resource, you are a person worthy of a balanced and reciprocal connection. Constant competition. When every interaction feels like a record in a hidden game of give and receive, you are faced with a silent counter. It is a silent signal that you are being taken advantage of. Unlike friendly competition, which thrives on mutual growth and shared victories, a game where the courtesy of someone is accompanied by a silent score and their favors are a disguised obligation. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, warns us against such imbalances in relationships, emphasizing the importance of genuine connections over calculated exchanges. In this game of silent counting, you feel indebted, as if every gesture has conditions attached to it, turning friendship into journal entries. The key to overcoming this is awareness and setting boundaries. Realize that your value is not measured by what you have to offer in someone else's scorebook. Build relationships based on mutual respect and support, as true Stoic wisdom teaches us to value connections for their sincerity rather than their usefulness. By doing this, you embrace the essence of Stoicism, fostering relationships that enrich both your life and the lives of others, free from the weight of hidden scores. You've made it halfway, a true sign of your dedication to self-improvement. If you'd like to share your journey, leave a comment with, "I'm attracting authentic connections into my life," or whatever feels right to you. If you like this philosophy, put a like and subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of wisdom to share. Moving on, absence at critical moments. Casual friends are like shadows, present on the brightest days but nowhere to be found when the darkest hours come. This pattern of behavior is a clear sign that you are being taken advantage of. Imagine being surrounded by laughter and smiles when things are going well, but as soon as the tide changes, their support disappears like a fog. These people see relationships as mere conveniences, as stepping stones on their way to their own gain. They are like actors, fulfilling their role when the script benefits them, but stepping aside when the scene demands more than they are willing to give. Their absence in your moments of need is not only disappointing, it is a strong statement of their real intentions. Stoicism teaches us to see people and situations as they really are, not as we want them to be. In the face of this behavior, Stoicism is not about disconnection, but about clarity and self-respect. Reflect on these relationships with a clear and unclouded mind, and realize that true connections are tested not in joy, but in trouble. When someone consistently disappears in your moment of need, it's a signal to reevaluate their role in your life. Remember that your value is not diminished based on someone's inability to see it. Strive to build relationships with those who are there for you, not only in the sunshine, but also in the storm. Lack of reciprocity. Imagine being in a relationship where you're always the one giving of your time, care, and even your Netflix password, while the other person seems to just take and rarely, if ever, contributes. It's a classic case of lack of reciprocity, waving a red flag brightly in the wind of your interactions. Stoicism teaches us the value of balance and mutual respect in relationships. If you are constantly the one who sends morning texts, schedules meetings, or listens to their problems without receiving the same attention, it's time to stop and reflect. Is this relationship two-way, or is it more like a one-way journey? Alone to address this imbalance, the point of Stoicism is not about changing others, but about understanding and adjusting our reactions. Ask yourself, am I resolving this imbalance by not expressing my needs? It is not about record keeping, but about allowing healthy reciprocal exchange. Speak up, express your feelings and needs. If the other person values the relationship, they will make an effort to restore balance. If not, this may be a signal to the relationship. Remember, as a Stoic sage of the modern world, your peace of mind and well-being are paramount. In a relationship, both parties need to feel valued and heard, not just one. Betrayal on betrayal in the landscape of relationships. Betrayal is a silent storm, ripening like an insidious vine. It wraps around the pillars of trust, slowly squeezing them until the life in them dies out. You may ask, how do I detect this hidden threat? Well, mindfulness is your first line of defense. Notice the balance between giving and receiving in your interactions. Is there a consistent pattern where you always give and they always take? It's like an emotional war game where you are left exhausted and unsatisfied. So, it's not just about identifying the problem, it's about taking action. Stoicism teaches us the power of perception and reaction. You have control over how you perceive and react to these situations. If betrayal is lurking in your relationship, face it with the calmness of a seasoned Stoic. Keep the dialogue, not finger-pointing, but about understanding the dynamics and deciding your path forward. Will you repair the crack or build something new? The choice is yours to make, but make it wisely. Remember that your emotional well-being is paramount and you have the power to choose a path that aligns with your values and respect for yourself. Selectivity. A subtle but powerful tool of manipulation is often hidden behind an excuse. That's where selectivity comes in. Imagine you are the person who is always being called upon, always at the ready to step in when called upon. Your presence is constant, like a beacon in the dark, but change the scene and you'll see a marked difference. Their availability is like seeing a shooting star, rare and on their terms. In scheduling conflicts, controlling the tides of a relationship, you find yourself in a dance where the steps are always set by them. Your messages float in a digital void and your calls go unanswered. When they finally connect, it's often to satisfy their own agenda, reducing you to mere convenience in their story. This imbalance undermines your self-esteem, sowing doubt about your worth. This is where Stoicism comes to the rescue, offering a lens to re-evaluate and reclaim your power. Stoicism teaches the art of perception, encouraging you to see situations for what they are, removing the emotional fog. It's about recognizing your value regardless of their actions. Embrace the honest practice of self-reflection and reframe the dynamics of relationships not with bitterness, but with clarity. It's not about building walls, but about setting boundaries, realizing that mutual respect and effort is the foundation of a healthy relationship. On this journey of self-awareness, remember that you are the sculptor of your self-image, not a spectator in someone else's narrative. Make you feel guilty when it comes to being used. Guilt is a master manipulator's favorite tool, a clever trick that makes you feel like you always owe someone something. They may say things like, "After all I've done for you," or "I thought you cared," turning every favor into a debt you never asked for. This tactic plays on your good nature, making you feel bad for even the thought of saying no. But here's the thing, you don't owe anyone your time or energy simply because they expect it. It's not selfish to put your needs first, it's necessary. The art of saying no is critical here. It's about respecting yourself enough to set boundaries. Remember, your kindness is not a currency to be spent on others. Stoicism teaches us not to let others control our emotions. When someone uses guilt to push you away, they are trying to take control of your feelings. Don't let them do that. Step back and ask yourself, am I doing this because I want to or because I feel like I should? Stoics believe in acting based on reason, not under pressure. It's about being true to yourself. If something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Trust your instinct. You have the power to choose how to react. The most powerful thing you can do is set boundaries. It's not just about avoiding being used, it's about living a life that is truly yours. Lack of personal interest. If you often feel like you're playing tennis against the wall in conversations, you're probably caught in a one-sided relationship. Your words only serve as a backdrop for the other person's solo performance. It's like pouring your thoughts and feelings into an endless well waiting for an echo, only to have silence in response. It's not just about being heard, it's about being recognized. Real conversation is a dance of words, an exchange that enriches both participants. When you find yourself excluded from discussions time and time again, it is a clear red flag. It's not just about poor communication, it's a sign that you are being used as just a bulletin board and not valued as a partner in the dialogue. Get into a relationship where mutual respect and empathy are valued. If you're constantly ignored, it's time to question the value and health of the connection. Your voice deserves a platform, not a void. Confronting this imbalance isn't about shouting louder, it's about discerning where your voice is valued. Stoicism encourages us to focus on what we can control, and in this scenario, it's about choosing who we interact with. If your words are falling on deaf ears, it may be time to direct your conversations to those who are actually listening. It's not giving up, it's a choice to invest your emotional energy wisely. It's a form of self-respect to seek out relationships where your thoughts and feelings are not only heard, but valued. Your experiences and emotions are not secondary plots in another person's story. They are the essence of your unique narrative. Choose to share them where they will not only be heard, but will be responded to with the same intensity and interest. One-way conversations. Have you ever found yourself in a conversation where you feel like you're just a pair of ears designed to absorb someone else's saga? It's a one-sided conversation, a tricky trap in the game of social exchange. Picture this. You're fully attentive to their stories and waves and supports them with an aha moment. But the moment you try to contribute your part, there's a sudden change. They disengage, become restless, or worse, switch the conversation back to their favorite topic, themselves. It's like playing tennis with someone who won't let you serve. It's about recognizing your value and asserting it confidently in these one-sided conversations. You are more than just a backdrop for the other person's monologue. You are a person with your own rich collection of stories and ideas. The next time you find yourself excluded from a conversation, gently steer the conversation back to a fair exchange. If they avoid doing this, it's a clear signal that they are more interested in having an audience than having a meaningful conversation. Always remember that in the art of dialogue, your voice is not an echo, but a melody that deserves to be heard. Hold firmly to your value and don't be afraid to seek the balance that any meaningful interaction requires. Superficial intimacy. Moving across the sea of modern relationships, one subtle but pervasive danger is the mirage of intimacy, where actions and words create the illusion of connection, but lack the essence of true emotional depth. It is the type of relationship where plans are often made and just as easily canceled, where promises are as fragile as fall leaves. This pattern is not just a communication problem. The intimacy to capitalize on your presence without investing in it yourself is an interaction based on convenience, where you can feel more like a useful tool in their lives than a valued individual. Recognizing this pattern is more than an awareness. It's a call to reevaluate the dynamics of your relationship. Does the balance of emotional investment tilt in their favor? Are you feeling the weight of unreciprocated effort? See these signals not as a reflection of your worth, but as a call to pivot toward a relationship that honors mutual respect and true connection. Stoicism teaches us the value of authenticity and living according to our principles. In doing this, we must have the courage to move away from those who view relationships as mere convenience. Instead, we must seek connections rooted in sincerity, where mutual growth and support are the cornerstones. It is in these authentic interactions that we find not only companionship, but a shared journey to personal and collective growth. Extras. Constant disrespect. Walking through life with someone who constantly ignores your feelings is like wading through a maze without a map. You find yourself in a relationship where your voice dissolves into the background and your needs are just quiet whispers in the background of their loud demands. Recognizing this constant disrespect is critical. It's not just about the big arguments, it's present in the everyday little things. Does your partner listen when you speak, or does he or she swat away your thoughts like an annoying fly? When you express your feelings, do they respect them, or squeeze them like an elephant in a china store? Stoicism teaches us on the value of self-awareness, initiative, and neon lights. This is a clear red flag. It's not about dramatic confrontations, but about subtle signs, eye-rolling, sarcastic comments, decisions made without your opinion. These are signs that indicate you are being used as a piece in someone else's game, not as a teammate. Out of respect for yourself as a confident defender of your worth, it takes more than mere recognition. It takes action. If your conversations feel like walking on eggshells where your words are distorted or ignored, it's time to reevaluate the situation. Stoicism isn't about tolerating difficulties with a nonchalant face. It's about recognizing what is within your control. You can't change their behavior, but you can express your feelings calmly but firmly. If they are late again, don't sigh and accept it. Say how it makes you feel unappreciated. If your opinions are consistently ignored, speak up about it. It's not about starting a fight. It's about protecting your dignity. Your feelings matter. Your opinions matter. You matter. It's not just about learning to express yourself. It's about making sure your voice is heard and respected. Resilient is not a doormat. Resilient is someone who realizes their value and demands appropriate respect. You, your consciousness, and your growth are important to us. I thank you for watching this video and hope you find these tips valuable. Consider sharing it with those who may need it. Wisdom must be shared in order to thrive. Comment, "I am a Stoic," and I will know you have watched to the end. See you next time.